Hello, GrabbZ, and thank you for your time. And I guess welcome back to LEC, and it's a win. So, how happy are you to start the season with a win?
I'm relieved that we won. The last days going to the game haven't been great in practice. So I think it showed in the first game, especially the second game as well, that the nerves were there. So yeah, a win is a win. It wasn't pretty, but in the end, like if we qualify for like higher bracket, no one will ask about this, so it's fine.
And you, as a coach, and maybe your player as players, do you feel a little bit rusty? Because I think the last competition was a long time ago for you guys because you didn't play MSI or AWC. So, do you think that it also explain why you have maybe some difficulty in the early games?
No, I don't think it's rust. I think it's being unfocused, and I think again, the practice hasn't been great in the results. I think we practiced well as a team, but obviously, if you then lose many games due to your own mistakes, you have self-doubts, and I think we were hesitant in what to do very often, and that just showed. I think Heretics played very confident in their own style, and they punished us and made the games really hard. But I think now that we won against SK, we should show a better showing.
And to be totally honest, the third game seems almost perfect, but the two first one was kind of messy. So, do you have any explanations to explain this kind of differences and inconsistency?
I think the game 3 draft also was just better than the other ones. I think red side can have a big disadvantage if blue plays the cards well. Also, of course, depending on the champion pools, like the game 2 picked the Rise. We have, well, we picked the specific answer with any, but I think we have other tools as well. Didn't work out like it did in practice, so it just looks really bad. So I think a draft was not the greatest in the first games. And game 3, if you snowball, then should be easy.
And we could see it in the trailers or in the promo video, but Poby was also quite important today because it was his first game with you guys. So, how happy are you with his performance?
I'm very happy with Poby. I think after coming here, he exceeded all expectations, even. We knew what we were getting. And of course, there were some worries about language barrier. How does he fit in? But he's a very like positive personality, very bubbly, very outgoing. Communicates a lot, tries really hard, and plays well. I think so far on scrims, we never really had a game where I felt like it shows that Poby is coming from the second division in Korea. Well, like he holds his own. So I'm not surprised by it. I'm just happy that he could play with confidence as well and wasn't too nervous.
And I feel also need to talk to you about like the mercato and like the transfer because for a long time you are used to see both Razork and Humanoid in Fnatic, even like before that you arrived in Fnatic. So was it like hard for you as a coach to break this draw and to break this kind of figures in the team?
I don't think it was hard because, first of all, I'm kind of new in the team as well. It's not like I have a history with both of them. Also, that's just the business. I think we need to make a change. There were options also, or like worlds in which we change Razork, right? That's not. I don't want it to make it seem like Humanoid was the scapegoat or he was the only option. I think just the way the market played out, it was the best option in the moment. But something had to change. I think also that for the future, it can be better decision making in terms of off season because I think that the relationship was already like very strained going into the season. But yeah, we made a change. We had to do something new because the thing is, what happens is that if you have three players in the same team and you're so close to winning and you don't, you can very easily think to yourself, I could do more, but my teammates are not pulling the weight, let's say, right? So if you remove a player of those three, then suddenly the other two don't have as many excuses to say, like, I could do more, but my teammates are not pulling the same weight. So I think just having a new spark is really important. And yeah, with Poby, we have someone who's not only a new player, but again, very bubbly, very excited to be here, very a hard worker as well, which in a certain degree I think was missing as well. This enthusiasm for the job. So I'm really happy.
And I think we can't say that Poppy is already like a celebrity, but his name is quite famous already. But who had the idea to like get in touch with him? Because of course he's from Korea, he's from T1. But do you need to like congratulate you for finding this player?
No. So basically, what has happened is we look at the AL market in Europe, and then also Fnatic, of course, like any team, I think at this point has their own data scouting tool, basically to show which player stands out in solo queue. And Poby had really good numbers this year. I mean, the people are not wrong in saying that 2 years ago he wasn't ready, right? I think that's when he played at LCK. For Faker, also solo queue back then wasn't great, but there was a clear improvement shown this year in solo queue and on stage. And therefore, then we asked for the VODs as point of views. and just the way he gathers information, how he also in Korean leads his team was something that was very, very different to like most EL players, where most of them are like very timid currently. The one that are closer to LSC. So no, it was just a data find basically, and then having an open mind. I mean, you saw the reaction to Poby, right? People were like very hesitant. And we just said, okay, if the numbers are there, let's look at him the same way with any other player. And we were pretty happy with him pretty fast. So yeah, that was it.
And I guess he will have a lot of pressure on him because, of course, he has a name and he's come from T1, and also like Fnatic has also a huge fan base, very passionate. So do you have any plan as a coach to protect this player?
I would just make sure we talk a lot to him. We also now have a performance coach, so we make sure that we rotate around, make sure he's happy. Also, GrabbZ was in charge of like being basically his individual coach for the beginning. So he has one person to talk to. They get used to each other. They can share ideas. So that is what we did for him to like be confident. And now we're breaking up the structure a bit, so he comes into the main focus. Let's say I talk a lot more to him, sort of stuff. So we just make sure that he feels valued. I think that's the most important part. And I don't think he feels necessarily pressured because of T1 or Fnatic. I think he just has the pressure of performing because he wants to win. And it's always the positive pressure, right, that every player should have.
And I also checked before the interview, like your own biography, I guess. And I think like you coach some Korean, like back with Rocket and also with G2 with Wadid. So
Yeah.
does it change anything to coach a Korean, or just like any other players?
I mean, I was confident in getting Poby because I had Koreans who really did not speak English. So I felt confident in being able to handle them. But Poby speaks, of course, he has issues, right? I'm not going to say he speaks perfect English, but you can communicate to him, you can have a normal conversation with him, and he can follow along. So he speaks English a lot better than we initially thought. So I'm happy with that. And yeah, I also know some issues in the past, especially with solo Koreans, different cultures, how they behave, how they address certain issues. So I think we just have a good read on making sure that he doesn't disconnect himself or just feels abandoned. So I was very confident with the move here.
And I guess that new players need some time to adapt, but with the Summer Split format, you don't have much time. So are you aware that you took a little bit of a risk with Poby?
It is very risky, for sure. But I think it would have been riskier to not change anything because that would have been just a ticking time bomb. I think, for example, the way we played today was not great. We got by and won, barely. But now we can be relieved and be like, okay, we can now improve, right? We won the first game. I think with the old roster, with the same performance, I think technically we would be mental boom and be like, oh, it's the same shit again. Sorry for swearing. So it is risky in itself, but I think the alternative was just way worse, just in terms of how the dynamics have played out. So yeah, we just take it day by day. We still want to win. I think the talent is there. Obviously, changing Marek humanoid will not change all the issues we have, right? I was very open saying that we have multiple players who are open to get changed. They stayed. They're trying really hard. Like I want to give praise to Oscar and Razak for taking the challenge, right? It's not easy for sure to have these public comments made about them. They're taking the challenge, they're trying really hard. They're focusing on some of the issues they're having. Some stay, right? They can't change overnight. So I think, again, even though it's risky, I agree with you. It was the way better choice than not doing anything.
And my last question might be a little bit tricky, but how would you define a good season for the Summer Split? Like, is it winning a title? Is it going to wars? Like, what is your objective?
I think we aim first with the new roster to secure worlds. I think the top 4 teams the entire season have been very competitive. So I think any of these teams should aim to win. But I wouldn't say it's a disaster if we don't, as long as we go towards. Obviously, getting 4th again, that will be a disaster for sure, and that's not what we aim to do. We want to play good League of Legends, first of all. I think we didn't do that all the time in the last splits. And then that should carry us through the season to a good spot. And I think that's more of it, I think. I don't really want to focus too much on the results immediately, but more, do we actually play a League of Legends that makes sense, which was lacking in certain moments in the past. And I think that's what we should focus on.
Okay, then thank you so much for your information and stuff like that. And I think good luck because you are playing against in 2 days, I think. So I guess
Yeah, against this game.
the rhythm is kind of intense. So good luck for that.
Thank you so much.